think we gather here with a sense of many things, sense of purposes, and perhaps many purposes each of you carry here, bring here. I think it's very important to set the motivation, clarify the intention. May not be clear at this point, but something has brought us here. Just being aware of or conscious of what's our intentions. Mind training talks about two activities, two tasks, which are the beginning and end. So beginning, make sure our motivation is a good one. And in the end, we dedicate. Then in the middle, whatever gonna happen, whatever we will experience, will become a virtuous. Virtuous by definition is bring happiness and joy to ourselves and to our world of shared experience. So this Moran Festival is the second year annual event which Dakinis Whisper host. Last year we started, but this year it's not a coincidence. I feel time has come for practitioner to really come to what's the meaning, what's the Dharma. Whatever happening in the world reminds us, or remind me at least, this scene at the Bhagavad Gita. Do you know Bhagavad Gita, Indian epic? One of these Mahabharata, big epic literature. And then in Bhagavad Gita, the hero or the main person is Arjuna, spiritual seeker. His teacher is Krishna. It reminds me this scene that Arjuna stands in the middle of the battlefield. So he's about to participate in the battle, but he's at the dilemma. If I fight, then I have to kill my families, my relatives, my beloved uncles. But if I don't, then what's my dharma? He was in the middle of dilemma, and his teacher showed up and asked him to inquire, what's your dharma? So I feel like we are in the middle of battlefield. Then really time for us to inquire ourselves, what's my dharma? What's my duty? What's my responsibility? So dharma means, in that sense, responsibility, duty, what I'm supposed to do in this battlefield, this war in the middle of a channel ground we are living, called the human condition. Yeah, we've been living for a long time, actually, forever so far, in a different form. But now I feel in this lifetime, in this body, which we have so-called precious human life, and many of you know what that means, and a very special one, not just a human life, but a special kind of boost advantages we all have. Yeah, we have been experiencing all these human conditions or sentient beings condition, but it feels like now time has come. Everything started to surface up for us to really reflect on the meaning of our Dharma practice. Actually, our world is helping, giving us ample opportunity to practice and reminding us what's important without getting distracted by world event. At the same time, our heart breaks and our heart opens. So in other words, this is a time. This is a time for us to all be grounded and not to get distracted. Really opportunity for us to leap, so to speak, or jump off the cliff. That's what we already did. Actually, all of you who signed up this special event for some reason and showed up this way, that means some indication or expression you already jumped off the cliff of this dilemma, so to speak, human condition. you wanted to have something different, maybe looking for a paradigm shift. And now it's kind of time to really swim in this river once you jumped into the river. In that sense, we are here together. We're so fortunate to have this kind of small communities to practice together, encourage each other, inspired by great masters of the past who tread the exactly same path, journey we are treading. Feel so auspicious, and I think this is a way for us to contribute. Perhaps each of you might have this idea how I can participate in the world of suffering, so to speak. And this is one beautiful and traditional, and I feel contemporary way to really contribute world of suffering. In that sense, we are not bypassing. Contrarily, this morning it occurred to me this one of my favorite Japanese Zen poets poem, Issa. He was standing in a tombstone of the recently deceased child. His daughter died young, and looking at this, and he said, "This fleeting world means the world of conditions, human conditions, samsara." He knows that this fleeting world, and yet, da 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 da. Only 2 lines he composed, but that sort of sentimental we want to bring to our spirituality. And then bodhisattva as brave heart and fearlessness. Then we make these prayers. And today, whole bunch of prayers we are planning to do with good intention. And also important to really connect this deepest dimension of who and what we are. So this is a good opportunity, really remind ourselves what does not come or go. Everything else is conditioned. Like even our partner that dies, things change. One moment we are so peaceful. The next day we open up the news or whatever. Then complete distraction. So we are kind of living in a constant change. Change is the only constant in a sense. Flex. We are living in a world of flex. At the same time, this reminds us of this interconnectedness. I really want you to feel in that, you can say, relative reality. We are completely interconnected. We cannot isolate ourselves, no matter how far we retreat in the Himalaya or wherever forest. We are completely, actually, that's the reality. In a relative sense, we want to really realize this inevitability of or beauty of interconnectedness. Then what's the implication of that in an ultimate reality? Emptiness of not any solid independent self here and other out there, phenomena out there, and me here. No, all are empty of this objective independent reality. So that one goes together. Then prayer unfold with that kind of sense of understanding or appreciation of holding both together. That's how prayer works in a sense. Doesn't need to be so complicated, but see, my point is to keep our heart open, and the prayer is not just prayer for the sake of prayer, and it's a spiritual practice. I grown up reciting lots of prayers, but at that time I didn't know how the prayer works. But now we have a practice, and we can bring a prayer in context, and we can let go of our ego self. So that's a big part of prayers, I feel. Then all the prayer come true. That's what our previous master did. So we're gonna follow the footstep of those great masters. So in this way, we're gonna recommit ourselves to this spiritual journey and together in this way. So I thought a beautiful way to do that. We just had a Tibetan New Year. So New Year is not about just putting clean clothes and having a party. And of course, that's traditionally done in Tibetan culture. But at the same time, for us, this is a really opportunity to recommit ourselves on this journey which is very sublime, you can say, benevolent, and bodhisattva ambassador, immense benevolent ambassador's journey. There are so many purposes, you can say, or intention or motivations that embedded in this 2 days weekend things. One is a lineage. Traditionally, the Monran Festival was done in Tibet, Lhasa, and actually began by Lama Tsongkhapa, founded by the Lama Tsongkhapa, founder of the Geru school, and initially or primarily prayed for the Dharma teaching, authentic Dharma teaching to flourish, and also our great masters to live long, and the long life prayers, and so forth, as well as bringing peace and harmony to the world. So it's a very appropriate occasion for us to participate this way. This is a really opportunity to use this traditional ritual going from beginning to the end, so to speak. In Tibetan tradition, once a year, teaching read very quickly from beginning to the end. Kangyo or Buddha's teaching and text, big thick one. So that is custom and auspicious. So I would like to continue to follow that tradition as well to the best of our ability in the West.